Dumb
Weird.
podcast. So what I wanted to talk about today with you is cancel culture because I saw your shirt and I thought that was really cool. But we wanted to talk about, do we think cancel culture has gone too far? And we want to talk about like kind of how it's affected our lives in the past. Like, I think I remember cancel culture kind of starting back in like 2015. I think is kind of when I remember it like starting
It's
to get
more
like
like a 2012 thing, actually.
really 2012.
Because 2012 is where I started seeing people like sort of take like a shift.
Oh yeah.
And I think 2015 around then is when people started calling things woke.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. So what is your opinion about cancel culture in the current state it is right now?
Oh my goodness gracious. That's a good question. Well, and also I do comedy in Los Angeles, which is the land getting canceled and wokeness and all that stuff. So it's funny for me to do comedy in different locations because what will work like at an open mic in Echo Park here, which is a very 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 left area, and then I go to like somewhere else like Palm Springs. There are some areas that you can get a little more raucous, and it's funny to see the different things that people groan about, and it's exactly the opposite. So I love it. I mean, I think to me, cancel culture is we've almost gone around like so much that I think you guys were saying 2012, 2015, during that time, it almost was starting to rear its head, and with Me Too, and we had a whole bunch of reasons why people actually should be quote unquote, and then I think just like humans do, we almost ruined it for ourselves by making it about everyone was getting canceled, and so it's just like we took an idea of just public shaming and taking people out of society that like really don't need to be there, and then we just made it, of course, like we put like an ice cream sundae on top of it and just made ourselves diabetic with it. And so I am definitely like all for people that do things having consequences, but I think it's gotten way too far. And yeah, I mean, COVID and the pandemic and all that stuff with the crazy mix of cancel culture for everything. So
Yeah. I
always tell my friends, so I'm a good spokesperson for like anti-cancel culture because I would consider myself like more liberal, and or when a few years ago I would, but like I think I can speak the language of like I like more forward-moving progressive ideas, and I come to that with also the notion that it's not good to just cancel people because they don't right away agree with you. So that can be both sides.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Definitely.
Yeah, recently Will Smith just got canceled by Hollywood. They banned him from the Oscars, and then now I read an article. There's a bunch of production companies are threatening to take all of his movies down on like all their different platforms. I'm just like,
well, not only
damn,
that,
dude.
but they also took away like some of the movies that he's working on currently. They stopped production. So after that,
Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, it sucks that he went and slapped Chris Rock in the face, but damn, dude, like you're gonna just like kill his livelihood because of that shit.
Well,
yeah, I know, and we're so quick now. Our society is so quick to just do all these actions, I think, to try to rectify in a way that like almost looks to the public like you're actually learning, growing. But that's, yeah, I feel like even on a smaller scale too, I've seen people drop out of movies and pull themselves from things almost before it even happens, just because they're scared of any sort of fallout. And I think that is ridiculous.
It's the backlash they get scared of.
Well, and then it's like we were talking about, everyone kind of got involved too. And you have like Amy Schumer coming out of nowhere saying like, "Oh, this really traumatized me," and you're like, "What?"
Amy Schumer.
You're like, Amy, you weren't even there. How does this matter to you?
I know, and now we need everyone's opinion. Like for me, the whole Neil Young and Joe Rogan and all that stuff. It's like Neil Young threatening to pull his catalog from Spotify. Like, and I love, even if I don't agree with it, I love I think information should be out there for people to then filter in and decide whether or not they agree with it. And of course, if someone is like making a YouTube video on how to kill someone and like, making like something that's very overt, like go kill these people, that might not be something good. But for the most part, that is like science, is us talking about things and bouncing ideas off of each other.
Yeah,
I feel very passionate.
Yeah, and the thing I like about Joe Rogan's podcast is that he's very open to everybody coming on his show and talking, and that doesn't mean that Joe agrees with everything that everybody says all the time. Yeah. It's called an open forum for a reason. you know?
Well, I know a lot of people had
Yes,
trouble with that from the beginning too, with Joe.
yes, I battle with that here because, like I said, I really do consider myself more progressive. I live here in Los Angeles, but then watching some of my very like left friends and colleagues just cancel, it's like you guys are hating on the idea that you like, which is being inclusive. And I always call myself a non-binary thinker because I don't want to be like tied into one way of thinking. So
Yeah, I
um
got you.
I yeah, I think that's how I feel.
No, it's good. Yeah, the thing about the thing about the cancel culture thing, like you said, is like the people get canceled way too fast, and I think all everything's not heard. One thing that comes to example for me is they wanted to cancel Johnny Depp a couple years ago,
Oh yeah.
and because of the Amber
Oh
Heard
yeah.
thing, and then it turns out that Amber Heard was the one who was actually doing all the bad stuff, and people are still on the fence about that, even though all the evidence has been presented in court and stuff.
Well, that's also like the thing with Joe Rogan when they tried to say that he was a racist because they weren't considering the context in which he was using the N word.
Well, yeah, they were using like sound bites. They
Yeah.
weren't using like the full. I mean, that's what people do. That's what the media does all the time.
Mhm.
They take everything out of context, and you don't know the whole story until you actually watch it or read or study it in detail. But a lot of
Yeah.
people don't do that. It's like
Exactly.
people. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, and I really do feel like true equality is basically having the same. If we are going to cancel Johnny Depp, then when we find out a woman is doing the same actions, then they like I feel like everyone has to get the same level of like repercussions, whether for their actions. I think that to me is really important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was reading an article today on Facebook about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, and
Yeah.
one thing that like I saw a comment from this woman, and she said, if it would have been anybody else other than Johnny Depp, I'd really be skeptical about this. And somebody commented underneath and goes, even with all the evidence, you'd still be skeptical. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yes, that, a lot. And honestly, like I'm the same way with even presidents and everything. I'm like, you have to, if you're going to be mad about one thing with a certain president, then it has to carry over with a different one. And I
Mhm.
feel like everyone needs the same type of treatment, just as human beings.
Well, that's the problem is everybody has their bias,
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you could read about it in anything. Like
Yeah.
when you look at any media platform that doesn't like Joe Rogan or doesn't like a certain president or a certain public figure in general,
Yeah,
you see that their bias shows in their writing a lot.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And I get like I think especially nuance is really important. Like how you guys were saying, just the differences of having open dialogue and not labeling people. I think like just labeling someone very quickly as like an anti this or a pro this is just shutting down the discussions that we need to have.
yeah. Yeah, and did you? So you said you do comedy. How's that going, by the way? Like you're
Re-
for good.
Surprisingly well, actually very very good. I started right before the pandemic, doing some stand up, and then I did a few shows. I think my last show was like March, or last show that I did before the pandemic was March 5th, 2020, and I'm like, this is so fun. I could do this forever, and then all of a sudden it was like shut down for 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
So I did Zoom shows, and then this past year I started up again, and I really have a great time. And one of the things I see up is that I think we really are more joined together than social media makes it seem. Like
Mhm.
there's nothing like a live setting, because even if people are trying to cancel you or whatever, it's harder to do in real life. And I think there's just something magical to me about stand up where we just, I don't know, people seem like they are more like more together than we seem online in real life.
Yeah. Well, have you opened for anybody really big? Have you been like a opener?
Let's see, for anyone really big, no, I haven't done that yet, but I've been lucky to be at some huge stages. So like the Comedy Store here, the Comedy Store in La Jolla. There's a club here called Flippers. I just did a show at the Hollywood Improv, which was super cool. So I would love to, and I even have some creators that I think I would be like a good opener for at this stage. So
Hmm.
there's people that I'm like, oh, I feel like this person's audience would totally get me.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that is something I definitely have my mind on. But right now I'm definitely just enjoying it as a solo journey.
Well, cool.
That's pretty
We have
awesome.
we have a really big place here. It's called the Laughing Skull here in Atlanta.
Yep.
It's one of the biggest in the country. When you go over here to the Laughing Skull here in downtown Atlanta, and you look at it, they have like murals all over the walls before you walk in, and it has like George Carlin and a bunch of other people because it's a big venue where a lot of big comedians come and do bits here. So
Cool. Yeah, and I think there's so many comedians I look up to, and like whatever people's opinions on her, the more I do comedy, the more I love Joan Rivers because she just talk about like cancel culture, and everyone she was weird, she had too much plastic surgery, we all know that, but like she was kind of the queen of just really truly not giving a shit and like really being herself. And I think the more I do comedy, you start to just see people like that who have those independent spirits, and it's not easy. It's a really hard thing to do.
yeah, and I know she was heavily inspired by Lucille Ball and Phyllis
Yeah.
Diller. Phyllis Diller. So
Phyllis Diller.
yeah, those are like two
Yeah,
that come to
but it
mind.
is some of my content is just, of course I'm just kidding around, but I talk about like being a pre-pandemic conspiracy theorist and like just joking that the whole reason I'm in LA is to join the Illuminati. And it's so funny the different responses I get to that night after night, because like some nights people want to kill me. I had one show where it was just like crickets, and then some guy just saying like Jesus Christ, and then other nights people are laughing and they get it. So it is funny how you do the same content and then just the crowds react.
Well, it's good for you because it's good feedback.
Yeah.
It probably helps you develop your bit a lot better. That's what I was listening to Dave Chappelle talk one time, and he said the best way to get better as a comedian is to fail, is what he told me. So,
I think it's a concept with everything, though.
well, especially with comedy though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, any
Yeah,
sort of stage performance, I would assume, would have that sort of effect.
Yeah. Well, I think Carrot Top hasn't learned his lesson yet though.
Isn't he? Wait, isn't he in Vegas?
He's made a career. But you guys know from podcasting too, especially with podcasting, it lives there forever. So it's like I have to be okay with employers and family members and everyone listening back to some stuff. And of course, you're not going to have episodes that agree with everyone. And at some point, you're going to offend like almost everyone in your life. So I think that's also the good thing about podcasting is just getting your voice out there.
I think one of our most tell-all sort of like podcasts was our one about fetishes, honestly, and kinks. So any employers looking in on that are just going to be like, oh,
Yep.
those guys.
And then we had an episode about body positivity and fat phobia. That was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, that one that one got a lot of good views though.
Yeah, I had a lot of good views because me and Nick we've fluctuated over the years with our weight, so we kind of know we kind of know a little bit about being fat, So
Yep, I hear you on that.
so yeah, the thing was Nick was like, well, maybe they won't be as mad at us because we used to be fat or we could be fat in the future, and I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. They're still gonna be mad about it.
I mean, we're not exactly like Arnold Schwarzenegger over here. We look like we are still like 30% dad bod.
Yes, it's and of course like LA takes it to the next realm here, because I swear some people just would rather be like, yeah, I think there's definitely a difference of body positivity and not being healthy and not being like, just not, I think it's all about just health and being healthy and feeling good, and I think sometimes we get overboard with stuff.
Well, I had a girl. She got mad at me I told Nick this story like months ago, but like last year, I work at this job. I direct marketing videos for a living. I actually work in the film industry. That's what I do.
Oh, cool.
And we decided to do a podcast to try to build a brand for ourselves. But basically, I was talking about losing weight with a couple of coworkers, and this really obese lady. We're talking like big, like 400, 500 pounds. She was big. Just pops up out of nowhere and is like, you can't talk about stuff like that because it's fat phobic. That's what she said to me. And I was just like,
Oh my.
and that was the first time I ever heard that word, fat phobic. And I looked at her and I go, what the fuck does fat phobic mean? And she looks at me and goes, it means you're being very insensitive to people's weights. And I said, well, I'm kind of fat right now, so I'm being insensitive to myself, I guess.
Well, it's like
And
the
she's being mean to you, so maybe she's fat phobic. Maybe she's fat.
that would have been funnier if you knew what fat phobic was and turned it around on her. Well, you're being fat phobic now
Yeah.
too.
You feel vulnerable. You feel unsafe.
I
Yeah.
need a safe space to be.
Exactly. It's once again with these terms, it's like this is why we humans can't have nice things, because it's like we start to label something and all of a sudden we just hurl these terms around at each other and just take it to a
Well,
weird way.
absolutely. You know, Jerry Seinfeld. I think it was you that was telling me about Jerry.
Yeah,
Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld won't
Said
do college campuses
he won't do
anymore.
college campuses anymore. He said college
Oh,
campuses are the worst places to do anything, and I can kind of confirm that because I'm doing a mockumentary right now about baby boomers and millennials, and I went to a college campus last week on Monday to interview people, and Gen Z kids, whew, very
oh,
very woke. Holy shit.
I know. And I would think that they would get a dose of reality when they go into the workplace, but now I feel like now they're just going to be the ones running it and making it even more annoying.
It's
Oh,
like it's like whenever you see it, it's like even in people's like profiles, you know, they got their pronouns and everything now. It's just like, you know, I really didn't care. I just wanted to look at your resume and see what you're all about. But sure, fine. We'll figure out what you're also into.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, I emailed with someone and like the very first thing under her signature is what native land she stole, and I'm just like, I
Whoa.
feel
well.
very.
Wait, what? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, it's getting to the point now in Los Angeles where like there's like 15 things under. I talked with someone who genuinely had what vaccines they got, their pronouns, and then the native land that they were on, all in their Gmail signature, and I was like, I was just trying to like pay my energy bill, and I had a question. Like, I don't know.
Wow, Nick's forehead is trembling right now. That means that he's having a fucking stroke right now.
let's go to Emory Hospital. Tell them we're married, and so that I could use your insurance because you know what? Maybe I should pull the gun out and just end it right now, right on camera. But Jesus Christ, oh my God, you know, this is as bad as my buddy who's taking classes online right now, and he's telling me that they have a thing called Chicano Studies at his school, and like they
What
have
is
like
that?
I don't fucking know. It's not real.
Okay.
It's like it's not a real subject. It's just made up bullshit. They just started like apparently he said there's like a bunch of these like ethnic studies, and it's all like the stuff that doesn't actually matter. It's just like a bunch of street culture being taught in schools.
Uh-huh.
I was like, that is very odd because like I said, he's taking classes online because he's from California. So now that he's like stationed where he is, he's taking classes finally. And he said it's weird that that there are these classes that exist.
Okay. I don't really know how to react to that, man.
I don't know, but when he told me, but the way he described it to me, it's just like a lot of woke studies are now being incorporated within your general studies that you have to take.
Okay. That's very bizarre.
Yeah.
That's about as bizarre as hearing about You ever heard of something called
Microaggressions.
Yeah, have you heard of something called microaggressions?
Oh gosh, a little bit here and there, but
Yeah, so all a microaggression is if you're not even really saying anything to anybody. If somebody just like is getting the feeling that you're being like
Aggressive.
sort of a racist, sort of sexist, sort of this, sort of that, then they have full free reign to get mad at you. That's really what it is.
yeah, that's truly.
It's insane.
It really is, and I just think like that it's going to move us backwards. You know, I think dialogue moves us forwards when we're actually having it, but that's just weird and truly like unhinged. I think we've all had too much fluoride or something in our toothpaste, and it's leading us all to be.
Alex Jones called that the frogs are gay, the fluoride's in the water, so that the government could spy on us. Yeah, we just got to tune into Alex Jones to figure out which one's the next conspiracy theory.
He likes Alex Jones. I'm not an Alex Jones fan, but he likes him.
Honestly, I find it entertaining, but I also find like the worst part is like the times that he's right when he's like the elites are taking all the kids and drinking their blood. And you're just like,
Yeah,
that's a little disturbing because they found like near the White House there's like caverns that are filled with like child corpses, like skeletons and everything. And you're just like, that is very bizarre. How is Alex Jones on top of this?
I know, and I had to stop myself from going down rabbit holes for a while of like false flag events and the 5G and all, because I'm open to learning about all of it, but at a certain point then it starts to make me worried and crazy, and so sometimes I have to like cap myself on how deep my research goes.
Well, there's a
But I
upside
do
to
believe our
this.
politicians eat baby.
Well, that does make sense to me. I was also going to say that if you go to the grocery store, they have tinfoil. So every package of tinfoil does come with a free hat inside. So so if you ever feel like they're worried, your brain waves are being scanned, just go to the store, get some tinfoil, wrap yourself up before you leave, get in your car, and they can't get in your brain.
Oh yeah.
Is that how it works, Nick?
Oh, I wouldn't know. I like it when the government's in my brain. They do a good job trying to clean up the mess that they made inside of it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But I almost think too about just how the government screws up everything that they like. Everything that the government does is the worst, like the DMV or taxes in general. So I'm like, what also makes me think that they could carry out all these plans? But yeah, I mean, I definitely believe in all that stuff. I just almost have to realize, okay, my time is short on the planet, so I don't want to be invested in like why Beyonce is channeling demonic energy, which I do believe she is. But sometimes I have to stop myself.
See,
honestly,
I draw the line at the demonic energy.
Yeah, and I'm like, for fortune and fame, who knows? I may sacrifice a goat or two. I'm okay with that.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, as long as you deal with Satanism and not the Illuminati, I think you're fine. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not rich enough to be part of the Bilderbergs or, business savvy enough to to go to Bohemian Grove.
But that's okay. Satan's in our back pocket, so we're
yeah.
good.
Satan is one of our co-hosts. He's been missing, but he's got a lot of things on his plate these days. A lot of sinners.
Lots of people want it.
Yeah, he definitely always has a lot to say about humanity. He's good about that.
I was really happy that he doesn't want our souls, but we have a commitment level we have to deal with like later.
Oh yeah, it's like a layaway plan.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So it's like we have to go down there, and then we got to deal with all the corporate bullshit, and then it's just going to be terrible.
Yeah, he said that Satan told us that your pretty face going to hell is actually pretty much
accurate.
It's accurate. So
It's a great show.
Yeah, they actually shoot that show here in Georgia.
Really cool.
Yep. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I said Atlanta seems like it's where it's at.
Oh yeah, we definitely have a lot of cool stuff going on. Down in Fayetteville is where they shoot all the Marvel stuff, and then up here in Atlanta is where they have Turner, and then they have a lot of Netflix shows shooting up in this area. So it's pretty cool. I've worked on like tons of TV shows in the past. I've done tons of Netflix shows. Worked for Tyler Perry. I've pretty much done a lot of different things. So.
Texas are like now the same versions of LA where actual production is happening, but it's like more normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Pennsylvania, in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the home of The Office.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Show.
I know. Yep. So I've been out here for about like 15 years. I came out after college, and I like it. California's weird. Like I said, the past 2 or 3 years have been like extra weird in LA and California, but I like it for now, so it's cool.
Do you manage pretty well with how high the rent is out there?
Yes, I have to have lots of virtual assistants, but I do.
Well, that's good.
It's insane that I just looked at a place and it's like for like $3,000. Like, oh, okay, I guess I don't need a closet or like a sink.
You know what? I didn't need a bathroom anyways.
Yeah.
Don't need a kitchen. Just gonna build a cauldron with a fire.
Well, somebody developed a app out in California to like show you where like people pooped. So
really?
Yeah, that was I thought it was fake too, and I was like no way. And then there's like actual like maps of like where in LA County people have pooped, and it's like literally homeless people and junkies just go out there and they poop in the street.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I would.
Wow. But then again, I think LA County might be the cancer of California.
I do. I was just in San Francisco and I saw like up close a man defecating. Like I saw it from beginning to end.
Well, wow. Well, then again, I had some friends out there who were stationed out. They were stationed out there. One morning, my buddy's getting out. He's getting ready to go to work. Sees a guy just take a shit on his lawn.
Oh.
He's like, It's just like and the thing is, like, you want to fight a person for that, but the problem is that you don't know if the homeless guy has plague on him anymore.
Right.
It's like it could just be a normal
Well,
junkie, but this one might be different.
That's so
out
funny.
here in LA, we call them our homeless neighbors. You'll be canceled if you say anything different.
So if you call them a bum, they'll get mad at you.
They have a
Yeah, I
phone,
don't think
so
they
they.
like that. As long as you use their pronouns, then it's okay. But
Well, do you think they have like a sign with their pronouns, or do they just like advertise it on their like bio? Do they have like homeless bios now?
I think they should. Yes.
Yeah, and see, we're in Atlanta, so I wonder if the homeless people in Atlanta are different from the homeless people in LA.
They're a lot more aggressive
Yeah.
when you don't give
Oh
them
yeah,
what you
ours
want.
are like. Yeah, ours are very scary and they hurt people.
Oh shit!
I mean, of course, there's ones that need help. I mean, everyone needs help, but of course, like there's ones that aren't like that. But definitely in the past couple of years, we've seen an uptick of violence and people
Wow.
getting hurt.
I had a friend who was actually he was homeless in California, and then he joined the military, and that's how I met him. But he was telling me that it got so bad that eventually the gang started extorting all the homeless people.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, and so it's like, and then I actually watched another podcast that was going over this. They were talking about how even when it comes to giving housing to the homeless, the biggest problem is if you've taken drugs from a gang member, what they do is they then find out where you're living, take your house away from you that the government gave you an opportunity to live in, and then they're running drugs from outside that house. But you're the one who's going to get in trouble because technically you're the one who's the property owner at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like it's a really vicious cycle out there.
Yeah, and we have a place over here in Georgia called Athens. It's basically where UGA is, University of Georgia, and the homeless people up there are pretty aggressive too.
Yeah.
They sound like about the same level as LA. They you go up there and they will get crunk on you. There's one day I was going on a date with somebody and I was literally just crunk. That's a very Atlanta. That's a very Atlanta thing to say.
Let's get crunk.
But basically, we were sitting there. Me and this girl were trying to get back in our car, and this guy just comes out of nowhere and is like, "Hey, man, you guys are a pretty couple. I respect that." He's like, "Excuse me, man, just for 1 second. Can I just get like a couple bucks from you?" And I was just like, "I ain't got no money." And he goes, "Well, fuck you then."
You know,
And I was and I was just like, "Well, fuck you." And he looks at me and goes,
Yeah.
and then he comes over to my car like he's gonna do something, and I grab my baseball bat out of the back of the car and I go, "Dude, do something, dude. I've just been waiting all day for somebody to try me."
I took a wrong turn in Atlanta. Some guy, I was trying to readjust my GPS, and I'm like, this guy starts walking up, like looking really pissed off at me. I'm like, I just reached into my glove box, that was my center console, pull out my gun, and I wave it at him. Completely
Oh my
changed his tune, and walked away.
Yeah, here in Georgia, that's the best way to get somebody's attention because it's happened to me before too.
Yeah.
You know, using a gun.
Yeah, it turns out it deters crime.
Yeah. What are the gun laws out there in LA like?
Bad.
Oh my god, I don't even know. To be honest, of course, I don't think we have our guns are like bedazzled and I don't even know.
Pew pew pew.
Oh my god.
It makes the gun noise. It doesn't actually fire anything.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's so funny.
You know,
I also saw you do your own podcast too with somebody.
Yes.
That's really
Yep.
cool.
Yep. Campfire shit show. It's been going on for a couple of years. Oops, that's someone actually from the podcast texting me now. But yeah, I do. I have a co-host, Beau and we talk to people about their shit show moments of life, and we are very canceled. But I love our people. Your audience is probably this way too, where like our people don't get easily offended, and that's my favorite type of person and favorite type of podcast listener, someone that's not easily offended. So yeah, we've been doing it, and it's so much fun. I think I actually like podcasting better than stand up.
You know what you should do in the future if you get big enough? Y'all should build a studio and build like a mock like campfire and make it look like y'all are out in the woods. I think that'd be so funny.
Go on a
That
fake
really
canoe
would.
ride.
That was originally, we have like a segment where someone gets in the sleeping bag with us, and I think when we first started, we're like, then we're gonna take a picture and I'll be in the sleeping bag, and then of course both of us are just so lazy that we never talked about like who's gonna actually buy it, and now 4 years have gone by and we haven't done it. But yeah, it's super cool. We've done some live shows out here, and we've been in Podcast Magazine and been on the comedy charts and everything, so it's very cool. But I mean, with podcasting, it's like you have to do it for a while, and I think people underestimate how much work it is to really put out a weekly show.
Yeah, we're on. This is episode number 29 for us. So.
Wow, good for you guys. That's awesome.
I think we've gotten a lot better though, because like over this time, we've realized we're getting better at how we're talking.
Yeah, we're having exponential growth. I mean, we look at our numbers, and on we use Buzzsprout for our stuff, and our numbers are like steadily going up little by little.
Yeah.
We're trying to get some bigger guests. I've been kind of looking around to see who's available to do the podcast. Like I have some connections with some people that I could possibly get. It's just a matter of kind of getting them when they're not busy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
the fact that you do it free too, because we've noticed that you can get good people if they're trying to promote like a book or their album or something. That's always a good. Now, what would you do if a guest wanted to like edit? If a guest is like, I wish I didn't say that, can I take that out? How do you guys feel about that?
If we're gonna, obviously working with like you or somebody else, it's fine, because we there's a level of trust. But if we're dealing with like a really high profile person, we're probably gonna get a release form of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a few guests that will like share everything about their divorce, or we'll get really good content from them, and then it's like as they're driving home, they're like pull over and they're like, "Can you please edit this part out? I wish I didn't say this." And we're like, "No, that's the only good part of your podcast."
I mean, we did a whole podcast that I wasn't even coherent for.
Yeah, he was really drunk.
Yeah, but yeah, we filmed two in the same night, and what happened was, I had way too much alcohol, and I would definitely say that this was a learning moment, looking back at it and realizing, I'm gonna be sober for these from now on.
Yeah, and we're actually about to move our podcast. We're moving up to Dawsonville. I'm moving up to Dawsonville, Georgia, which is like an hour north of Atlanta. And it's actually going to be a better place because it's going to be more quiet, because it's the middle of nowhere. And we're also going to have an entire room just dedicated to the podcast there. Yeah. And we're going to be able to line all the walls with with foam like we got here, but we're going to completely cover all the walls. So it'll be pretty cool.
And honestly,
who's a great
sorry.
for us? Do you guys that we had on like one of the audio guy, or one of like the kind of characters from the Adam Carolla show, Dawson. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's wonderful, and he's kind of like our type of mentality. I love him. He's great. His name is Mike Dawson.
I do.
If you're interested, let me.
Yeah, that we would definitely
would be awesome.
We'd definitely be interested in that. And I've actually got a really cool Adam Carolla story. I posted a video many years ago on me and my buddy used to do a channel called Crap Films, and we still do it sometimes. It's like usually really like campy, weird sketch comedy, and then movies as well. And we did a little sketch called Roid Rage, where this guy was talking to his friend, and he was like, "Oh, I got roid rage," and he's like, "What do you do, steroids, dude?" He's like, and then I'm like, "No, hemorrhoids," and then it shows me shitting in a toilet, and
That's funny.
Yeah, and then we posted it on Instagram, and it said, "Adam Carolla liked your video," and I'm like, "That's not the real Adam Carolla." And then I clicked on his Instagram, and sure enough, it had like the little check mark and everything, and it was him.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Like it was just so it was just so fucking random,
Isn't that random? I think you never know, especially with celebrities. It's so funny how I think a lot of them are just lurking on TikTok or Instagram like late at night.
We forget that these people are normal people like us that like to do normal shit,
Yeah. They probably spend.
And what probably happened is I posted that video, and he was, like you said, he was probably just on his Instagram just scrolling through shit, and then he just saw that, and he was like, "Oh, what is this?" And then watched it, and he's like, "Oh, this is funny," and then like button, So.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, and honestly, Adam is another example of someone that I admire in the way where like I may not agree with all of his viewpoints, but I love how he's built his own thing, and he can. And people that sponsor him know what they're getting, and he's kind of like uncancelable too. I really appreciate that.
And that's the problem though, is getting to that point where you can't be canceled anymore.
I'll be honest with you. When I was a kid, I couldn't tell the difference between Norm Macdonald and Adam Carolla when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I thought they were the same motherfucker when I was a kid. I'm not even lying.
It was sad when I was growing up and I found out Chris Farley died.
We just randomly figured that out.
Yeah, I randomly figured it out because my dad told me. I was like, and I had that Stewie Griffin moment. I was like, but I just saw him on the TV. He's like, yeah, he's dead. And you're like, oh, this is terrible.
That's sad, dude.
Yeah, those were my first moment. One of my favorite fat actors died.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I know. It is sad. One of my guilty pleasures is watching old Adam Sandler movies from the 90s.
Yeah.
Can't help myself. Love them. Yeah. What is a movie that's like a guilty pleasure of yours from like the 90s?
Oh, I definitely know. My favorite movie of all time is Best in Show.
Oh,
Have you guys ever seen it with the dog?
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. It's pretty good. You ever seen it?
Yeah, with Chris.
No.
Chris Guest film mockumentaries. That's what made me love. I love bloodhounds, like the dog, a bloodhound, and that movie made me love bloodhounds because there's a scene where he like takes all the bloodhounds' loose skin, and it's just very cute. I like weird Christopher Guest movies. I really never liked like romantic films or anything like that, but I like weird irreverent movies are my happy place.
It's like little simple cartoons are my guilty pleasure. I'm back at watching a regular show now, and I've realized I was like, man, these are 11-minute episodes, and these are probably the funniest thing I've seen. This should have never been a kid's show.
Yeah, we have a new segment on our YouTube channel. We're gonna start doing. But basically, we're gonna be watching and reacting to old vintage. I can't even believe we're calling this vintage
YouTube.
Vintage YouTube from like 2006 to 2010. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, the years.
Yeah,
It's like watching VHS or DVDs.
and nobody's done it yet. So we're like the first ones that are gonna be doing it because we put out content on our YouTube channel like every single day, and we're trying to get to the point where we're putting like not just every single day, but like maybe a couple times a week,
Doing
putting
episodes.
extra content. So
Yeah.
That's really, I'm a slack that kind of stuff, but that's awesome. I love watching YouTube the same way I would just watch TV. Like I watch the YouTube channels, and I don't know, it keeps me more engaged in actual TV sometimes.
Especially with the clips, though. It's like when we're breaking down our show into clips now, I really do enjoy that because it's like I like watching clips from other podcasts more than I like watching the full episode sometimes. And I've noticed that that's definitely a big move on our part to make more clips as time goes on and putting out the content.
yeah, we usually schedule like clips like 2 weeks out every week.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we I'm pretty on the ball because I mean. I know how to do all that stuff. I know how to edit. I know how to shoot video. Then it's Nick pretty much
I'm just here to look pretty.
Yeah. So, but I do a lot of people don't know this, but I do like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff for this show. I do most of it, and then we have a guy that does some of the social media stuff. But I will say he has been slacking a little bit.
But he's also got a life to go to, so it's like it's understandable.
Well,
he's trying to start his own business.
This is show business, baby. It doesn't slow down for anybody.
So wait, am I really just the looks here? You just kind of keep me around because you're like, I need a disposable, pretty host.
Yep, pretty much. That's how.
Now, have you guys had your host fight yet? Or like co-host fight?
No, we like each other too much.
No, it hasn't happened yet, but it might. I mean,
what are we gonna do? Make out about it?
We do have milestone goals. Like when we hit episode 50, we're gonna do something special. Episode 100, we're gonna do something special. So we kind of have some ideas for some stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll probably hit episode 100 probably by the end of the year. So
we've been moving pretty fast.
So cool.
Yeah, we've been moving pretty quick.
But I have to say, we really kind of have a goal in mind, so it's helped us move as fast as we can too. Like we don't want to be working at a day job forever. We want to be YouTube rich. We want to be podcast rich.
Yeah.
Podcast rich, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulling in those Joe Rogan dollars.
the Joe Rogan numbers.
Yeah, those Joe Rogan numbers.
This would be perfect for like man wipes or dude wipes or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the thing is, like, our goal is to try to hit 1,000 listeners by the end of the year. I don't know
Yeah.
how probable that is, but we're trying to reach that goal. It's like a goal we
Yeah.
kind of set for ourselves.
I mean, we've been climbing in the numbers, like you said. So it's like it comes and goes.
Yeah, the biggest issue we have is subscriber growth on the channel. Like that's people are really weird about subscribing to shit.
But at the same time, I also think that has a lot to do with the current climate that we're in, with all the wokeness and everything too.
Maybe.
Because we do sometimes say some very off-color things, or at least I do.
I know, and that's what will make people like you even more if they like you. But then that's what makes it like not for everyone kind of thing. I think that's what I always feel that way, even in comedy too. I feel like 1 out of 80 people like really get it, but then the other 79 are like, no, thank you.
Get off the stage.
Yeah,
Like we're done
exactly.
with you.
I had one woman like come up to me almost with like tears in her eyes in a good way, being like, "Thank you so much for talking about the Illuminati. Like no one talks about it." But then like that one woman cared so much, and then the whole rest of the crowd was like baffled and just confused. So I think it's good though.
Don't talk about the Illuminati.
I just enjoy our conspiracy. I enjoyed our conspiracy theory episode too. That was fun.
Yeah, he enjoyed doing that one.
Well, the birds aren't real.
It's fun. It's ridiculous. Oh, the birds aren't real. Yeah.
Yeah, remember?
They're the podcast guest for you.
Yeah, it was a CIA plot, so they're not real. They're just cameras.
Yeah, I covered. So we all picked different topics. He picked the birds aren't real. I picked alien abduction, and my
It's flat Earth.
flat Earth too. And then we had Satan covered. What did he cover?
I think we were talking. He was covering cryptids.
Cryptozoology. Yeah,
Yeah.
Which is a really
Oh man.
yeah, which is very popular. And then we had my friend Ryan here, and he covered. What did he cover? He covered some kind of like
It's flat Earth.
Did Ryan do flat Earth?
Yeah, he did flat Earth, and then we all kind of like went on the Australia isn't real conspiracy. Hasn't
Or
been
Antarctica.
No, Australia. It's not real.
People think it's not real.
Yeah, apparently this is like a new thing, but it's also like there's like a new thing with like TikTok historians where ancient Rome wasn't real either.
Yeah, there's
Oh my
yeah, I went to high school with a guy, and he actually believes in the whole flat Earth thing. I found that out like many years ago. Didn't know.
Wow. So I don't
You know
what
what?
we are, but yeah, that's the one thing that whenever I told my family and friends, I was just like trying to get a rise out of them, and I said, I think the Earth is flat, and they were like, "You've gone too far."
You've gone too far down the rabbit hole.
Well, it's like at this point, if you say anything that sort of like pisses off that one family member, you just got to keep going with it like a joke. You can't be serious. You just got to find the thing they don't like and run with it.
I mean, my theory is the flat Earth thing is not actually a real thing. I feel like they do it because they're making money off of it somehow. You know.
Well, it's also not exactly the people that you would think have like many brain cells, like Tila Tequila.
Oh my god, I heard about her. But I do think that children were being shipped in Wayfair cabinets, or not in Wayfair cabinets, but I think they were being listed on the Wayfair website. But I don't think they were being like shipped in a drawer or anything.
Now, I don't think they were shipped in a drawer. I think they just like put it in there as like one of those things like to log in. It's like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of Wayfair cabinets, and it's like you got a bunch of kids landing on Epstein Island.
Yes, yep. Like Veronica is like $17,000 or something. Yes, I do believe in that.
Yeah, that was actually.
But like I said, I still order from Wayfair today, so it's okay. I'm very hypocritical.
Well, you see, the problem though is that Alex Jones was also warning about us like that to us like for years, and we just thought he was crazy, and then turns out Epstein didn't really kill himself.
Yeah, we actually talked about that conspiracy too on the podcast. We talked about the Epstein thing. Yeah, because we thought it was a little bizarre how like the security camera happened to not be working, and they moved his cellmate out the day before, and then the security guard happened to be asleep.
Both of them happened to be asleep in a institution that never had one suicide in its history.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
I mean, the first.
Anything on the news that I see.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they swept that under the rug quick.
Well, now
Totally.
now with the shooting that happened in New York, they had the sort of same thing. Yeah, the cameras just mysteriously went out.
Yes. I just type in like false flag after literally everything I see, and then I'm on my own like Reddit page for
It's funny because it's like whenever you like you find a conspiracy, you're just like, oh, this one seems pretty real. Like the
Yeah.
like the frogs turning gay. They didn't really turn gay, but their biology is fucked up because of the chemicals that they were putting them in the water was actually changing the male anatomy and turning them into hermaphrodites.
But it's not so do you ever get on TikTok at all?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, I like to my own, my own demise. I like scroll for hours and hours.
So we've done a lot of deep research into TikTok.
It's owned by the Chinese
It's owned by the Chinese government, and the whole point of TikTok, because we watched a whole piece about it that actually has really good sources that decided that you can go look at yourself.
It's meant to burn out your dopamine receptors.
Yeah, it's meant to burn out your dopamine receptors, and the Chinese are using it to gather information on people all over the world. Basically, what it was, they introduced a more dumbed down version of it to their own citizens like years before they released this.
The one that they brought to their citizens was actually used as a tracking device to help. What was it? It was helped to enforce their social credit system out there, and then what it did was it also was used to uplift the Chinese people. So their version of TikTok has like kids discovering cool things, people going to work, doing productive stuff, and
like engineering, STEM fields, stuff like that. Like they hide like as much of a society, like much as their society's like really fucked up, they heavily like try to get their kids interested in like real like jobs that are like meaningful to society, basically.
Well, that's how you uplift a society too, and they realize that the only way to be a superpower.
What the conclusion they came to after we watched it is that they're using this platform to try to basically dumb down the rest of the world, so it'll be a lot easier for them to take over the world at some point.
And there was like a science completely to the way that the app works too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our facial recognition, the fact that they have us, like they're changing basically the way that we look, and that they have us pretty much mapped out our face talking. And TikTok is the one, like, oh, this is worth me being tracked by the communist government though, because it's so funny.
Well, I mean, when you see a group of grown men start using TikTok to, lip sync and twerk, then it's like, yeah, you know what, maybe we deserve to.
But the numbers, but when you look at the numbers of China and the United States, the Chinese kids, they're asked what they aspire to, and they aspire mostly to STEM field related stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you ask kids in the United States what their number 1, number 2, number 3 favorite jobs they want to do, it's always some kind of influencer, it's always some kind of YouTube star. That's what they want to be, and not everybody can be that.
The sad part is that we're doing that right now.
Well, I mean, but I've been told I have a lot of, I've been told by many. Well, people told me I have a lot of talent with this. That's why I do this. I don't do this because it's something that I came up with off the top of my head. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. But but these kids think that they are gonna be this, but they don't really put in the work for it.
But we also did a lot of research into this too, like you said.
Yeah, before we even got started. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was adverse to being on TikTok at first because same thing as I knew. I'm like, oh, if they're making us all have puppy dog faces, then they're tracking us in some way. And then I got on it. I'm like, it's worth it. It's okay.
I don't blame the individual for the phenomenon of TikTok. I just know the danger of TikTok, and I try to let people be aware of it.
It's the greatest.
And I think that's true. And especially with how you said the dopamine is, I feel my own attention span going down so much after being on TikTok for a few hours every day. It's hard to then stay focused on work or a movie or anything. So yeah.
It's like trying to make you dumber.
Yeah.
That's like their whole goal. And honestly though, I think that my favorite thing that I know is on TikTok is the conspiracy theorists who are prepping for the end of the world. And they're like, they can't find me out here. It's like, you idiot. They know which part of the woods you're in because they've got a tracking device on you.
Yes, they're live streaming right from where they're hiding. Yeah.
Live streaming here from the woods. Government's not going to get me at all.
The Chinese government shows up in an hour. We found you. It was easy. You should really get rid of TikTok if you're going to hide from us.
Well, I mean, Philip K. Dick, the author from the 20th century, he predicted that tracking technology was going to advance to a point in the future where they can easily track you, and the stuff he kind of predicted really has been happening.
Yeah, And
So,
I mean, you can always find all the degeneracy though on TikTok that shows us that we don't want to be like those guys.
well, I think it's an echo chamber. A lot of those people are sitting in an echo chamber. They're saying stuff that's not really true, and nobody's checking them. I think that's a fucking problem.
Well, it's kind of like going back to like this whole thing when we were talking about wokeness too. I think that's where they seem like they have the largest voice. Like they don't actually represent a large group of people. It's just they're the loudest minority and they have a platform
Yeah.
to run on.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, exactly. Like in person, I always feel like most people are kind of more normal and they can expand their thinking more than we think. But you're right; it's the loudest ones that are the ones that are making all that seem like they're the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really see the crazies. Like, the crazy people that you see on the internet is not necessarily the people that you interact with on a daily basis.
Right.
Because those people are usually scared of their own shadow. They're not brave enough most of the time to come out into public and confront, like,
Unless you're in Portland.
unless you're important.
That dude,
Yes.
my buddy went out to Portland. He said that it was those people are always out there, but the worst part is that they're homeless. Really are defensive about their trash.
Oh my God.
What was it? Remember there was it Seattle or Portland? Like in the middle of the pandemic, they had like a just kind of like little city of its own that they started this community and they were like hurting
Oh,
people. Do you remember?
I think that was in Seattle. I think it was like called the Block or the Chop or whatever. They renamed it like
Yeah.
so many times. All it took was a SoundCloud rapper with guns to take over
Oh
a
my
small part of the city.
Yeah, it's just like, why is this happening in the middle of everything going on? It's
How did the
just
police
really-
not light their asses up?
Well, you see, the problem is that they were kind of preoccupied with all the other chaos happening out there.
Oh, I see.
So
Mhm.
you can't really do much. But
Isn't there a place where you live called like Tent City or something like that?
Oh yeah. Yep. 10 cities. Like, I mean, now it's expanding even more. But a lot of off of Cahuenga, there's like a underpass, and pretty much people are building. They have their own tents and everything, but they're almost now building, ironically, like their own homes, and it's like 2 stories of wood and bicycles and just trash, which is very funny and kind of ironic that they
You
are
know,
like building houses.
I remember there was a meme going around when we were in college together, and there was the redneck mansion where it was a bunch of trailers stacked on top of each other to make a house.
Why does that remind me of Demolition Man?
Because LA is Demolition Man.
Yeah, it really, really is. It's crazy to have to like just deal with that, and it definitely is like a health concern too. People make how we said before with like human waste on the ground and everything. It definitely is not good for everyone, and I know we're very concerned about health out here. So
It's very interesting that you're very concerned about the pandemic out there, but they allowed so much rioting to happen.
yeah,
For equality or whatever.
I know. Believe me, that's why I started pre-canceled my T-shirt line, because I was needing to cancel myself to live here.
Yep.
That's so funny.
We live in a strange world.
I know.
Well, we're coming up on the 3-minute mark pretty shortly. So I guess the conclusion we can make is cancel culture has definitely gone too far.
It definitely is.
Well, we took a tangent. I love the ride that we went on.
Yeah.
Well, I think the tangent we went on was very good, and I think it actually covers
Actually
the
went-
aspects of cancel culture, like kind of different facets of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that, and I appreciate what you guys are doing too. It's nice to have smart people talking about all different types of topics.
Oh, wow, someone called me smart. That's amazing.
But I wanted to ask, do you have anything coming up, like a show or anything that you want to plug?
Yes. Okay, so I don't know how many listeners you have in the LA area, but if anyone is out in California, May 28th, I produce a show, and I'm having it at a venue here called the Glendale Room. So that's May 28th. It's like a big comedy show. It's a Saturday night. I have some great comedians on it. And then the other thing I would just plug is obviously my aforementioned T-shirt line, pre-canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And then Campfire Shit Show, my podcast.
Do you have a fire shit show T-shirt by any chance? Because I would wear that.
Would wear that?
I would wear a
I
shirt that
have
said
any-
fire and shit show.
Okay, good. If we make some, I'll send them to you guys for free.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And let me ask you, do you have any photos of yourself wearing that T-shirt?
I do.
Do they have no background? Is it like a PNG?
No.
Okay. Well, I know Photoshop pretty well. So what I would do is I would take your photo and just Photoshop it where it's just you, and then I'll put you like with whatever our thumbnail is gonna be. But I'd like to have you like in the thumbnail wearing that shirt. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be phobic. I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
I should be. Shouldn't I?
You know what? Now she's being fat phobic towards us.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're all together.
Well, I will say before we move on to like the closing, the funniest thing to me about people who talk about the fat phobia and body positivity thing, those people are the first people to make fun of guys' dick size and how tall guys are.
Yeah.
Well,
Or their height. Exactly. Exactly.
Which is, by the way, something that you can't control. You can actually control your weight, but you cannot control your height or how big your dick is. For women, how big your boobs are, unless you get like surgery or something,
if I would have worked out to be taller.
Yeah.
But I'm still here, 5 foot nothing, so it slim pickings.
Honestly, my this is a whole other conversation, but I feel like the women in my life are way pickier about men's appearance for sure than the men are, my guy friends, about dating women. Like the girls are like crazy that I mean I love my friends so much, but they like really are. They won't date a guy if his eyebrows look weird or all these crazy things.
They're gonna be alone for the rest of their lives.
No,
I'm just serious. Like, because there was actually a matchmaker who she gave up matchmaking because she said she got tired of working with women because the women would have these impossible standards because she would find them like a really great guy who would be like what they were looking for, and then they would look at him and be like, he ain't nothing. And then she'd be like, what do you mean he ain't nothing? He's a retired professional football player. I just found you a top tier dude. What is wrong with you?
Found you what you were looking for.
And she goes, that's not what I'm looking for. And then she would be like, well, then fuck you then. And then she would just give up.
Was it like something along the lines of he's got to be younger?
No, they didn't like one little thing about the way he looked. It's just like, okay, well, what about you? And then you look at them and you're like, dude, you're not even that special either. What the fuck's wrong with you?
right.
A lot of people have some
My
very
boyfriend and I
strange
are
standards.
both hard fives. We're both happy with being mediocre, so that's good.
That's great because
Yeah.
we were talking about that one day, how more people should be okay being mediocre. It's not a bad thing. It's okay to be normal. I wouldn't even call it mediocre. I would just say being average or normal.
Exactly. Okay, there's some attractive qualities. There's some non-attractive ones. That's cool. Like neither one.
I mean,
Claudia Schiffer, so.
the previous woman I dated, she like we're not really dating anymore. And the thing is, like, what she really wanted is she said she wanted a guy who she wants a guy that makes like $500,000 a year and is like really handsome and all these different things and I've been told I'm a decent looking guy, like good looking guy,
motherfucker.
but like the thing is, like, I don't make $500,000 a year yet, but she's like she listed off all these things she wants, and I'm just like, you're a great girl and all, but I don't think you're gonna get like what you're looking for, because you're asking of the impossible of somebody, and what do you offer that person in return? And she doesn't, on paper, she doesn't really offer much,
I mean,
No, that's true. I had a therapist once that helped me out a lot with kind of just having like crushes in general, and she really helped me like see what I was wanting from other people and to try to take those qualities like in myself. And it's like maybe that girl wants to make more money, and it's like, why depend on someone else to have? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's so much opportunity out there, but people still want to just rely on others.
Yeah,
exactly.
But hey, to wrap it up, this is the Dumb Cool Weird podcast, www.dumbcoolweird.com. Yeah.
Oh, we have a soundboard now.
Yeah, we do. That's right, folks. We're at the top of the hour. Go to www.dumbcoolweird.com. Check out our other podcast episodes. We also have our YouTube channel. We could use some comments. Please, for the love of God, subscribe to us.
Please buy our things.
Yes, we have a merch store. We're broke as fuck. We're going to have to start an OnlyFans again, and you don't want that.
I mean, I guess I'm going to have to do it again.
Yeah, so please. And then check out our lovely guest. She's got some really cool stuff going on. She's a stand-up comedian in LA.
Buy
Check
her
out.
stuff.
Buy her
like,
stuff.
Subscribe.
Aw.
Yeah. What's the name of your YouTube channel? We're going to blast it.
I don't have a YouTube channel, which is really bad. But if people can find me on Instagram, my name is Meryl, and then my last name is Klemow, Klemow.
Cool. That's where you can find her, and you can follow her and see all the wacky adventures and shit she's going to get into.
Exactly. And you know what?
Today.
Cool.
Nice. And as always, stay sexy, Atlanta.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Dumb, Cool, and Weird podcast with Wes and Nick. If you want to check out more of our stuff, go to www.dumbcoolweird.com. You'll find our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon link if you want to support us. Also, be sure to check out our merch store. And if you're interested in being on our podcast, you can find a link on our website so you can reach out to us and tell us if you want to talk to us about something that's really weird, dumb, or cool. We'd be glad to hear from you. Hope you will stay tuned for the next weird ass episodes we got. Thank you.